Now we're going to look at finances from an operations point of view. You really can use your finances and your budget as a way to support your mission and your strategic goals or your current objectives by really focusing that money in areas that you want to improve and grow. We've created this financial worksheet here at BossNet for you to think about your spending and your budgeting, and if you are using it in those areas that you're really focusing on at the current time. We've made it in the Google Sheets format so that you can use it whether or not you have Microsoft Office installed, and it's available for you in the course room to download. So when you click on it, it will pop up. We'll look at it in a way where you can't edit it because that's how it will look. So here I have it pulled up in my personal email. And when you click on it, you'll be able to click on the file and then you can make a copy or add to my drive. You'll need to be signed into your own personal Gmail account. If you don't have one, you can make one for free. And that way you'll be able to edit it in Google Sheets. You can also download it as any type of document that you'll be able to use on your computer. So if you have Microsoft, then you can use it as Microsoft Excel, or you can use it as an open document, which is a free Excel-like format. So let's take a look at the financial worksheet. So I've divided it into just example areas, thinking about what type of programs do we spend our imaginary budget in. As you're editing this, it might look very different depending on your program, but I know in my program, a lot of my money went into athletics and art because art supplies need to be restocked very frequently as caps get left off markers, as we need to resupply paint, whatever it might be. And athletics is always big. We maybe are doing a new unit on football, so we need to restock some more footballs. Or maybe we want to get some new jerseys so that when we're playing team games, we want to have a few more options, whatever it might be. And I've divided up into short and long term because sometimes we have short term items and sometimes we have long term items. And then the third area that I did was literacy because that's always a great focus to have. So that's the first area here. And then we have the current spending. So a lot of programs spend money. It might be monthly, might be quarterly, but you can do whatever it might be. And then the category total here. And then your total budget is down here at the bottom. Then we have it broken up into desired program time. So we're having here the desired time, keeping that in mind. Not what the actual time is, but what you're hoping it will be. Because let's be honest, it might be that athletics right now takes up 80% of your program. But if you're really working on moving towards more of a literacy program, then put in your desired time. And then in this column, we have the impact on the mission and objective 1 through 5. So if your mission is really to support kids in academic success and teamwork, perhaps, then literacy is really going to cover that academic success part. And if teamwork's maybe more of a secondary part, maybe athletics will still be high on the list, but maybe not as important, and art might not be as high there. And then your current CQI or strategic goal importance. That is thinking about maybe you have a CQI plan that has been created recently, or perhaps you've just recently done your business plan and your organization as a whole has talked about some areas that they're really going to focus on. And you've said that we are really, in the next 6 months, going to really focus on building up our literacy program, and you say that is where our focus is right now. So that gets a 5. And art and athletics really aren't a big focus. You say we're going to chug away on them. We kind of got this covered, but they're just going to kind of keep going as they are. So you give those both a 1 because they're not really a strategic goal right now. They just are what they are. So you put those in. And these are, of course, subjective right here, and that's fine. because this is really just to get you an idea and to get you thinking. This isn't going to necessarily give you a hard number that you have to follow, but it's really more of a reflective practice. So the numbers I put in here, like I said, are just imaginary. I'm pretending that I had $300 as my monthly budget, which is very healthy. That's great. I would love to have that much money to spend in my after-school program each month. And I'm going to say that I spent $120 on short-term athletic supplies. I needed to get new footballs, and those are short term because I know that we're going to lose them on top of the roof, maybe, or they're going to get lost during time outside, whatever it might be. And then long term, I bought um, two soccer nets. Art, I bought a lot of paper and markers, and then some long term, I bought some really cool stamps. And then some literacy, I found a great book and I spent $10 on it. All right, so then my total budget was $300. Fantastic. And I've put in my desired program time. I hope that we're spending 60% of our time on literacy, 20% of our time on art, 20% of our time on athletics. I already discussed our mission objectives and our current strategic goals. So over here, this financial worksheet automatically calculates our current spending percentage. So it divides the total into the 300. So we see that that $10 is 3.3% of our $300. And the $120 of art is 40% of our total budget. And athletics is 56% of our total budget. And we see that our current strategic goal or importance, that literacy is really 71.43% of it, and that art is 14.29%, and that athletics is 14.29%. And so we're thinking, do these numbers right here match up to these numbers right here? And we're seeing that there's a big disconnect. And so this gradient right here, it will change from this yellow to this green. It should be roughly the same. If it's close to the same, great, it's looking good. But when we see this big disparity, this dark green and this very light yellow, that means that there's maybe cause for concern, and we need to reflect on why there's such a big difference here. Which brings me to my next point, that we have these extension questions here at the bottom. Because we understand that sometimes, things aren't going to go perfectly, and sometimes we do need to spend a little more in certain areas. So we think about, is this a required purchase? Maybe we had to spend a lot of money, this $100 in art, because we have a big art show coming up. And I know at one of my programs, we were required to do a monthly art project for a end of the year art show. And so one of the months we had to do printmaking. And so that was a big investment. So maybe that we were required to purchase. Which meets that next question. Is this a new program that will require a large expenditure at first? If so, that's all right. So maybe that month or that quarter, this gradient over here might not match up exactly, and that's okay. And then thinking about, what policies can we enact to keep these supplies in good conditions? Are these realistic? How will you implement these policies? So keeping in mind, if we are buying the same things over and over and over again, if these athletics and these art areas are, just the same short term, keep being purchased over and over and over again, what can we do to keep the supplies in good conditions rather than purchasing them over and over again? My example is I was purchasing hula hoops constantly because the kids just kept bending them. And so we instead had to enact policies about how the hula hoops needed to be treated when they were brought out during gym time. And so that needed to be kept in mind. And then, should this be purchased at a different time? Is this the right time to be purchasing it? And then I had this question first. I don't bring it up till now because I think it's really important. Do we have staff capacity in the program area? And what time and PD cost would be required to reach the desired state? So this is important because, so for example, I don't have STEM up here because what good are STEM supplies if the staff are not comfortable having STEM activities? Thinking about that, then it might be important to add here maybe a professional professional development for STEM. And maybe that is a one-time expenditure that then you say, okay, we're going to need to um, pay for an online training for 5 staff. That's $20 each, and then we need to pay for the staff to take that. I'm just going to put $200. So we say that's going to be one time, but that's important to do. So you put that in, and you can put that in there. So knowing then the next month, you'll be able to add to that STEM budget. But it's important to think about these different things. And then you say, is this STEM part eventually, it is going to be a part of our program. And then you can add in, is it part of our mission? Is it part of the strategic goal? And think it through. But my point being that you can really look at the finances and the budget to really work towards your current mission or objective, and really making sure that you're spending that money in the right place and making sure that you have the right supplies to create the right learning centers and focusing your activities on those areas that you really want to grow in your program, is how you're going to get yourself to that next level. And this worksheet, I hope you can use it. I really want you to take some time to just put in an example month and really reflect. Are these areas over here, this spot, are they kind of matching one another? Or are you seeing this similar example that we saw here, where your strategic goal is green, but you're seeing, wow, I am spending a significant difference than what I'm seeing here. If you have any questions about the worksheet, feel free to contact me with the Talk to Trainer button.